If you've ever wondered what would happen if an alien race from another planet or another galaxy came to Earth and tried to turn all of the human race into drugs, well, wonder no more. Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon have you covered here. Yes, they are the creators of Rick and Morty, and they are the ones behind this video game. I will say this is one of the most creative things that alien beings have ever tried to do to human beings. Usually when they arrive, they're trying to eat human beings or take over the planet. These guys aren't really trying to do that. They're just trying to snort them up or smoke them or whatever it is that they're going to do, or however it is that they're going to ingest the human beings as drugs. I never really bought the idea of alien creatures traveling light years and through galaxies only to arrive on planet Earth and try to eat human beings. Human beings tend to be a little bit full of themselves. There's nothing appetizing about the human flesh. Not that I would know, but it just doesn't appear that way. The video game thrusts you into the action within a few minutes of you creating your character, and from then on you're fighting alien hordes left and right with your weapons, who are very sassy smartasses and only half of the time are actually useful. But if you've ever experienced a Rick and Morty episode, you will be very familiar with the type of comedy that they have here. It's very consistent, and almost every single NPC that you run into will have some witty reply to you. There's even a section at the beginning of the video game, or towards the beginning, maybe an hour or two into the gameplay or the storyline, where your weapons actually interact with each other. And I feel like this is really where the game hits its stride. It's really well written, great comedic timing, and I think this is perfectly displayed when your weapons actually talk to each other. Out of all the weapons, I have to say probably Knifey is my favorite. He's more often than not inciting you to just go around stabbing everybody. He doesn't require any ammo either, so this is a weapon that you can use for those really close encounters if you just don't want to waste any ammunition, or if you don't want to deal with the hassle of reloading. Another spectacular thing about the video game is its visuals. There's never a doubt that this is a next-gen video game. The world is incredibly immersive. The palette of colors that was used for all of the maps in the video game are just absolutely eye-catching. Aside from the fantastic comedic writing with this video game, the other big highlight, in my personal opinion, has to be the combat system. It's very diverse. It allows you to kill your opponents in multiple ways. It doesn't cage you in a specific style. This game is really reminiscent of the way that Doom played at its peak. It almost feels like there's a flow or a rhythm to the way that you play the game. Like if you're in rhythm, if you're dodging, if you're jumping at the right time, if you're timing every single action that you're taking on the battlefield, you will be able to handle your opponent, and as I mentioned, in just a ridiculous amount of different ways. The game also doesn't feel overly difficult. Not to say that this is a simplistic style of combat, but I think once you get down the rhythm and the flow of the game, once you're in tune and timing everything perfectly, the game just seems to come together, especially when you're using the correct weapons at the right time. Even though you will die from time to time, specifically when you reach the bosses at every level, they're not exaggeratedly difficult. Usually your third or fourth time you'll be able to nail or understand exactly how it is that you defeat your opponents. I have also only played the game in its entirety one time. However, I do feel like there is the opportunity to go back and replay this game. There are a variety of different options. Sometimes Knifey will tell you to stab a specific character without spoiling too much, and you can choose whether you stab them or not. So the second time around that you play the game, you can choose the option that you skipped on the first time. The puzzles are actually also pretty decent. They're not extremely challenging. They're not going to make you rip your hairs out or your eyebrows, but they're challenging enough to keep you guessing and thinking for a few minutes before you're able to figure it out. And I think it's a good change of pace, especially because there are some stretches where the game is very heavily action oriented. There's a lot happening, there's a lot of chaos going on, and so I think this gives you a little bit of a breather, but it doesn't kill the mood of the video game. There's still some really good comedy happening, and it continues to deliver even in those brief down moments. But I should say there were some technical issues here and there. We did see some animations not load correctly. From time to time you will be stabbing a floating head with Knifey, or you will see random corpses just kind of floating in midair, but that's, I suppose, expected with modern day gaming, especially since this game is only a couple of weeks old. I'm sure there will be updates and patches later on to fix all of that. All in all, this has to be one of the best video games that I have played in quite some time. It's engaging, it's very immersive, the characters are extremely memorable, the dialogue is very humorous, very witty, very snappy and quick. The level designs are always very intriguing as well. The puzzles aren't overly complex, but they are difficult enough to keep you guessing. As I mentioned, the only potential downsides to this video game, in my personal opinion, are probably going to be the repetitive style of dialogue. If you're not into it, you just won't like it. It's constant throughout the game. It is very raunchy. It's very adult themed. So if you're not into that kind of comedy, I could understand why you might take a point off here and there. The other one, as I mentioned already, has to do a lot with the technical issues, the little glitches here and there, which, as I said before, they're very few and far apart, but they are there, they are present. If there's anything that you take from this video, well, actually two things. First off is human beings are delicious and every alien species wants to either smoke us, snort us, or eat us. We should just come to that realization. But the second thing and the most important thing about this video game is it's just fun. It's a fun thrill ride. It'll take you back to your beginning days when games were complex enough to keep you interested, but there wasn't a huge learning curve. And the characters are just as colorful as every single landscape in this beautifully crafted game. There are very, very few things holding this game back. I feel like it was as close as you can get to perfection, especially in a game where we're being bombarded by the same repetitive nonsense, the same style of first-person shooters. I think this is definitely a change of pace. Even though I don't think this game is for everyone, I think everyone should actually give it a try. Whip out your controller, take your pants off, play in your boxers, enjoy yourself, because these games only come around once in a generation. Let me know in the comment section what you guys thought of this particular video game. Did you guys enjoy it? What didn't you like about it? Or is it absolute garbage? Let me know. I'm very interested, very curious to see what you guys have to say. So stay safe out there, keep gaming, keep smashing buttons, that is, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you.